What's up YouTube, NCG here, bringing you a budget Blackluster Soldier deck profile. Boss monsters are all in the main deck. You do have an extra deck, you don't have to rely on it, but as a Yugi fan, Blackluster Soldier is one of my favourites. So, without further ado, we're going to crack straight into it. This is relatively budget. You can probably make this easily for £50 or less, and as we go through the cards I'll probably point out the expensive ones, if any. So, triple Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier. This card is amazing. Basically, you ritual summon this card using Super Soldier Ritual. Oh, drop the card. Try and get the glare off with. There we go. So, if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack in the graveyard. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard and special summon one Gaia the Fierce Knight monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, you can only special summon BLS Super Soldier once per turn. Now, the second effect isn't too important because we don't run the Gaia in this deck, in this build, but basically the burn effect is amazing, and then when you couple in with the Twilight Knight and Beginning Knight, even stronger. We play the one vanilla BLS. You can obviously play pre-prep of rights in this one and more of these to search them out, but in this one, because we're going with a bit of a kaiju build and focusing more on level 4s, this is what we play. So double Gamma Seal. So there you go, straight away you play trading in this, so you've got 6 targets of trading, and I personally feel in this meta and in this day and age that being able to main kaijus gives you a great advantage already. Next up, Triple Manju. Now this is probably the card that's going to cost maybe the most throughout the entire deck. Yeah, pretty much the most from the entire deck. It's about a 5 each. He just searches out your ritual monster or spell. Very straightforward on that one. Then we play Triple Beginning Knight. So when this card is used to ritual summon a BLS, it gains these effects. Once per turn, you entire one monster your opponent controls and banish it. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. This card can make a second attack in a row. So this is what it gives to the BLS when it's used as ritual material. Also, its own effect is if this card is banished from the graveyard, you can add one ritual spell card from your deck to your hand. Now, this works really well, and so does Evening Twilight with the White Dragon, Wyvern, and Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. So we'll get to them in a minute. Triple Evening Twilight. So, when this is used as a ritual card, basically, once per turn you target one monster your opponent controls and banish it. Once per turn you can banish one random card from your opponent's hand face down. If this card is banished from the graveyard, you can add one ritual monster from your deck to your hand. So, now with the new ritual spell card that came out in, I believe it was Raging Tempest, I'll have to double check in a minute, you send one light or dark from your hand, and then one light or dark from your deck, but obviously it needs to be opposite, so you need to send one dark from hand, one light from deck, or one light from hand, one dark from deck. So ideally you're sending one of these guys. So now your BLS, not only is it going to burn when it destroys a monster by battle, it also gets to banish 2 opponent's monsters. If it destroys a monster by battle, it gets to attack again, and you get to banish a monster from hand. So the effect it gains is ridiculous. Next up we play Double Envoy of Chaos. You can easily bump this up to 3 if you wish to. During either player's battle phase, you can discard this card and target one BLS monster or Gaia Fierce Knight monster you control. It gains 1500 attacks. It's a nice mini honest. Until the end of this turn, and if it does, every opponent's monster that battles it has its attack become the monster's original attack during damage calculation only. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish one light and one dark monster from your graveyard except this card, add it to your hand. So you get to recycle it by banishing these guys, which then gets their effects off. And then we play, obviously, the one BLS Envoy at the beginning because, again, it gains these effects, gives the banish effects on these guys, and it's just an amazing card to have. Right, next up we play 2 White Dragon Wyvern Buster and 2 Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. Now the best thing about these is you can again trigger Beginning Knight and Twilight Knight's effect by banishing them off to get these guys out, and then these guys search the others out. You can bump these up to 3 if you wish. 2 and 2 seems to be working quite nicely for me. Now onto the spells. Triple trading for your 6 targets. You can easily drop this down to 2 if you wish. You just want to see it at the right time because your Super Soldier Synthesis allows you to special summon your ritual monster from grave, so it doesn't really matter if they're in the grave. So speaking of Super Soldier Synthesis, this is the card. This card is amazing. Came out in Raging Tempest. Artwork is very nice as well. Short and simple. This card can be used to ritual summon any BLS ritual monster from your hand or from your hand or graveyard. You must also send one light and one dark monster from your hand and one from your deck to the graveyard whose total levels equal exactly 8, hence the level 4s. 1 Super Soldier Ritual. This card can be used to ritual summon any BLS. Ritual monster, you must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal exactly 8. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card, 1 light monster and 1 dark monster from your graveyard. Special summon 1 BLS ritual monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. Only use this once per turn. So, very straightforward on that one. Then we play double Gateway of Chaos and Terraforming. So Gateway of Chaos, when this card is activated, you add 1 BLS Ritual Monster or Gaia the Fierce Knight Monster, so don't worry about the Gaia bit, from your deck to hand. Each time a monster card is sent from hand or field to the graveyard, place 1 spell counter on this card. For each of those cards, maximum 6. Once per turn, you can remove 3 spell counters from this card and add 1 ritual spell card from your deck to your hand. So you can only activate 1 Gateway per turn. So your trading is helping add to this, and so is obviously ritual summoning anything. Double MST, you can put 2 twists if you want. This is trying to keep it as budget as possible. 1 Upstart Goblin, 1 Reinforcement in the army, and 1 Instant Fusion. And then even more budget is 2 Grazy Prisons. So for those of you who don't know what Grazy Prison is, basically a cheap man's D barrier. If you control a face-up monster that was tributed, ritualed, or fusion summoned until the end of your opponent's next turn, neither player can Synchro or XE summon. Synchro and XE's monsters cannot attack, also they have their effects negated. So it's your much cheaper version of D-Barrier in this deck. And then finally, Beginning of Heaven and Earth. Reveal 3 warrior monsters from your deck, including at least 1 BLS Soldier monster or Gaia the Fierce Knight monster, and have your opponent randomly pick 1. If they pick a BLS monster or Gaia monster, add it to your hand and send the rest to the graveyard. Otherwise, send them all to the graveyard. So you've got enough BLSs there to choose from if you wish. So, very straightforward on that, and like I said, it's relatively budget. You can easily make this deck very, very cheaply. I believe it is literally only Manju that is the expensive card, and only at about $5. Now onto the extra deck. So, Divine Dragonite Felgrand, everyone knows what this guy does. It's just for the extra bit of protection because your BLSs are level 8s. Heretic Sun Dragon, just to empty out your hand and clear out the board. This could also help with getting the Wyverns on board as well. Then we play Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, Galaxy Eyes Full Armor, and Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. These are just 3 of the best that kind of boost through your opponent's defences. Arzu the Sylvian High Protector, I really like this card. It's a fan favourite for mine in this deck and on all my level 8 decks. And then onto the rank 4s. Number 80, Rhapsody Berserker, works really well against Zoo and Infernoids, plus Paleos as well when they're leaving stuff in grave. 1 Diamond Dyer, 1 Carriogon Knight, 1 Heroic Champion Gandiva, 1 Castell, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Cowboy, 1 Heroic Champion Excalibur, and 1 Elder Entity Norden. Now you can easily put in the Utopia package in this if you want. This is just to be made as cheap as you possibly can. So even though I say it's a £50 or less deck, without Utopia, because at the moment Supers in the UK are going for about £15, which I think is a bit crazy. But £15 and then your free Manjus at 15 quid, your deck's at 30 quid between the two. If you're on a really tight budget, you just don't play Utopia. If you want to be going a little bit crazy, chuck your £15 in, get your Utopia, and then you just add it in, and then the rest of this deck just kind of builds itself. I mean, stuff like this is only like, I think you can get Ultras, reprints from the Megatins like £1.50, Commons are pennies, Grazely Prisons aren't too expensive, Instant Fusions aren't too expensive, Roaders aren't, Upstarts probably not too much, MSTs are cheap, Gateways are a few quid, but they're not, you know, that expensive to break the bank with, and then the rest is all just stuff you can pick up in Commons. That's been reprinted to death. Envoys are cheap, Twilights have all been reprinted in the Megatins, and Gamma Steels can be taken up for Dorgomu, any level 8 basically Kaiju. Gamma Steel is just the best, so I think like the rares are like $5 each. So, you know, well within a decent budget for you guys to play with. And it's very fun, I really, really enjoy it. You know, especially if you get your full effects on your BLS, you can pretty much go for game and push from there. So yeah, thanks for watching, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and until next time guys, see ya.